Hello, my brothers and sisters in Christ. I wanted to get on here and just share an encouraging story, man. To know that, just to know that God is your source. He provided something for me that I needed for my car. I had a friend of mine that was working on my car, and for some reason, my AC to my heat, it just stopped working. Like I couldn't my air conditioning was stuck on. I would turn it on heat and it would still stay on AC. And I didn't know, I had no idea what was wrong. So I hit up my friend, David, that works on cars. I'll always send him my car when I have trouble or whatever. He's done like all modifications on my car for like the past 5 years. And I hit him up, and he's a good friend, and he volunteered to take a look at it for me, you know, obviously if I pay him and everything. And I brought it over to him, and we start troubleshooting and, you know, trying to figure out. We thought maybe it was the thermostat. It wasn't the thermostat. And, you know, maybe the heater core is clogged. So we, you know, put a hose pipe to it and ran through the heater core. The heater core wasn't clogged. So we troubleshooted for like 5 hours one day, but we couldn't figure out what it was. You know, we changed the thermostat. That wasn't it. We did anything and everything that we could think of. And then we started looking into getting to like the actuators and stuff. Well, first we didn't even know that it was an actuator, but we thought that we were going to have to take apart my entire car, like all of the dash and everything, the whole dash assembly. He was like, dude, this is going to take me like 18 hours. But he was going to do it. He was like, but I got to keep your car for a little while. And I was like, dude, really, you think that we have to take apart the entire dash? And I was like, surely we can go through like the glove box or something. He's like, well, I can't get to it. And I was like, well, you know, the Lord kind of led me to a YouTube video, and then I figured out how to take my dash apart, like my glove box apart, and us going underneath the glove box. That way we didn't have to take apart my entire dash to get to this little actuator thing. It's a motor that goes when you turn your heat on, it like moves the blower and everything in your car. It's called a temperature gauge actuator. It's like a little motor thingy that's a part that I needed. So we go through all that, and well, we get the part off. We think that we have the part, so we order it from Amazon. It was like $30. I was like, man, that was cheap, or $25 or something. And it comes in and it's the wrong part. There's actually two actuators. One is the motor and one is not the motor. And we ordered the part that wasn't the motor. It's just like another assembly. So I was like, okay. And so I borrow my uncle's truck so I can get back and forth to work for like the next couple days and leave my car at his house. And he's like, you know, I'll get it, you know, as soon as I get the part, I'll get it fixed, and then, you know, you can get your car back. And I was like, okay, cool. So a couple days go by, and, you know, we still don't have the part. We can't find the part. And he was like, I got bad news. And I'm like, what? He's like, the part's discontinued, man. Like, they don't even make them anymore. And I have a Mitsubishi Eclipse GT, like an old school 2006 Mitsubishi Eclipse GT. I love that car, but it's a pain in the butt sometimes to find parts for it. And the part's been discontinued for some reason. Like, out of all the parts, like, you can get the heat sink, you can get like temperature control knobs, you can get all that stuff, but they do not make the little temperature gauge actuator thing that actually turns the blower, you know, from hot to cold. They don't make it anymore. And I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? And he was like, I don't know what to tell you, man. He was like, I called, you know, his uncle has like a pull apart. He's like, man, I called my uncle. There's not even one in like anywhere. Like, we can't find your generation Eclipse so we can get that part. And I was like, okay, but you can actually turn it manually. I just have to leave all of my glove box completely disassembled, and I'd have had nuts and bolts all in my car, and I really didn't want to do that. So I was like, okay, well, let's just put it back together, and, you know, I'll bring it to you when it gets cold so I can actually use my heat. I was like, right now it's like 100 degrees in Alabama, so I'm cool without heat. I just wanted to have it fixed before winter came, because I don't know if you've ever tried to defrost your window with cold air. It doesn't work. It gets a million times worse. So I was stressing out about it, but I was like, Lord, I know that you're going to make a way for me to find this part. Like, so I'm not stressing out. I know that you're my provider. And literally, guys, I was just flipping through Facebook Marketplace, and I ran across a 2011 Eclipse, which I have a 2006, but they're all like interchangeable parts. And I reach out to this person on Facebook, and I'm like, hey, I don't need the whole car, because they were selling the whole car for parts. I was like, I need one part off of that car. Is it okay if I come and take one part off of that car and pay you for the part? And they were like, well, what part? And I was like, well, and then I told them, the part that I needed. And I was like, is it okay if I just take that one part off? And they were like, yeah, sure, that's fine. So I call my friend David. I don't even know if this part's on this vehicle, but it looks like it would be. And I called my friend David, and I was like, hey, man, I think I found it. And he was like, you've got to be kidding me. And I was like, no, man, I found it. And it's in Alabama. All the other ones that I found were in Atlanta, which is 2 hours from me. And I was like, if I drive over there, will you meet me so we can take the part off and then put it on my car? And he was like, yeah, sure. So I drive to the junkyard, and I talk to this man named Paco, and he starts walking me back. It is like 115 degrees outside. It feels like it's probably 100 degrees, but with the humidity and stuff here, it feels like it's 115. It feels like you're just walking through just hot air. It was miserable. And we're walking in this little, I thought that I was going to a house, but I ended up going to a pull apart in the middle of nowhere. I'm not even sure how I found this. Only by the grace of God is how I found this. And we're walking, and he takes me, and he was like, yeah, here's the 2006 Eclipse. And I was like, 2006? I was like, that's my exact year, but I thought the one that I was looking at was a 2011. And I kid you not, guys, this car had been completely taken apart. It had no motor, no transmission, no nothing. I mean, the seats were barely attached. Like, everything had been like taken off of this car. And I peek my head in, and the glove box had already been taken off. All the stuff is moved out of the way, and I peek my head in, and there's the part. It is literally sitting right there ready for me. And that is nothing but the Lord, man. And so I called my friend. Actually, I sent him a picture of it, which I'll put it on this video at the end of this video, so you can see just all the pictures and everything. I think it's very powerful that we know that we know who our provider is, and it's our Lord, man. And I relied on him, and he provided for me a part that was discontinued. And I literally saw the part that I needed when this car didn't even have wheels on it anymore, not even a hood, nothing. And I literally found another piece that I needed while I was there. And it only cost me like $60 for both parts. I just wanted to share that, man. And we hooked it up, brought it over to my buddy's house, because he had a fan in his garage that we could actually use because it was so hot. We didn't want to do it right there. But we took it back to his house, and he hooked everything up, and everything works perfect. So I just wanted to share that, man. It was nothing but the Lord, man, providing for his son. And I am so grateful that God is my provider and not man. And no matter, if a part's discontinued, our God can make a way for you to get what you need. And I needed that because I wasn't going to have heat this winter, or if I was going to have to stick my arm in my glove box to turn it on. And I wasn't looking forward to that, but I knew that he was going to provide. So I just wanted to share an encouraging story like that, man. I hope that can encourage you to know that, God's your provider. And I prayed about it, and I prayed with my buddy Freddie the night previously. I was like, Freddie, I need this part, man. Like, I know it's discontinued. I can't order it. I can't get it on like OEM. I can't even get aftermarket parts for this thing. I'm going to have to find an Eclipse that's the year of my car to pull this part off. And I came to a scrapyard, and the only thing that was left of this car was a part that I needed. So I pray that encourages you guys. I pray that everybody has a blessed day. All right, later.